Hi guys, and today we're going to talk to the silver wolves a little bit. Now in earlier videos I've kind of touched on this, but I've had so many of you reach out to me about it. I think I need to just do a standalone video and talk about it. And what I'm about to say, I am not giving you medical advice. Okay? I recommend that you go to your medical provider, follow his directions. Okay? I'm just going to tell you what I do. What helps me. Okay? Why do our bones hurt so bad, especially when weather change and things like that? Well, it's a little bit of science. As we grow older, our bones become harder and more brittle, and they get a little thicker, kind of like rings on a tree. So they don't flex nearly as well as they did. So what would have been a minor nothing when we were young, we'd come off that second story, land and tuck and roll and get up. Now we can't. That's one of the reasons they have an age requirement in being an airborne paratrooper, because past the age of 40 we don't bounce back nearly as easy, and you get way too many injuries to them bones. No matter what the physical condition of the trooper is, the shock to the bones is just too much and they start breaking bones too easy. So 40 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever, you had that mishap with your right shoulder or your leg or your arm or your hip or that rib or whatever, and you had a pretty good boo-boo in there. Well, wherever that point cracked or hurt or whatever, and it healed up, but that's still a weak link. Now the science is this: the atmosphere pressing down on us generates X amount of pressure, and that as we breathe, our bodies will equalize to the pressure. Okay, flesh and the tissues equalize fairly quickly. Bone does not. Okay. So what happens is when you've got that storm front coming in and the barometric pressure drops, you've been at 31 points for the last week and a half while that high pressure dome's been sitting on top of you, and now this comes in and it drops down point, and it's at 29, 28.7, and you hurt. Those old, God, that where I wrecked the car when I was 18, man, that thing is just killing me. Yeah, that's because that original damage that happened right there is still, it's healed. There's a weak link, and the pressure inside that bone is pushing outward, and so it's like you got 2 pounds of pressure right there on that thing, like something sitting there on it. And that's the reason we hurt so bad when the weather changes. Now, for us old silver wolves, that means that we can act as our own weather prognosticator, and we can tell that it's about to rain because my right hip's hurting, or that my left leg goes to hurting and when a cold front's coming, or we're going to have a blizzard because both my hands are hurting. You've heard this your whole life. And there's a little bit of fact to that old wives' tale of it. It's not a wives' tale. They did not prove this until we, back in the late 90s, put a couple of us old silver wolves, into a barometric chamber where they could adjust the barometric pressure and then do like a CAT scan or an MRI on us and actually see what was happening. And it took something like that for us to know. So we're out here and we're going to go, and the question that's been posed to me so many times is, Blackie, I got bad arthritis, and how am I going to be able to go camp, go out, even though I'm going to be doing mostly car camping, but how am I going to be able to function? Well, one, talking to your medical provider is a big thing. Two, even when you've got arthritic hands and etc., movement is key. Keep them moving. Don't let them ever slide up. Because you see those people with those deformed hands is because everything swelled out and they couldn't move anymore, and then it kind of just hardens in that place. Okay. So one of the things that I do to keep me moving is I make sure that when it gets to be I start aching. That hand starts hurting. I start working that hand. And you can hear my arthritis. We got a big rain cell right over that way right now, and we're going to be having probably heavy rain in the next half hour. It's going to be here, and barometric pressure is dropping. And both my hands are just popping and snapping. My shoulder the same way. So now in the field, of course, you're going to take your medication. But what else can you do? Well, what's helped me is I take ginger caplets. Now, my friend Dan Lutz was a huge fan of this, but he made ginger root tea every morning and drank it. But ginger is a great anti-inflammatory. And so what I do when I'm having a big outbreak like this, man, I just can't hardly move. I'm so stiff, you know. I carry ginger caplets. Now, to just swallow one like an aspirin, bad idea. Because once they get on your tummy, if you ain't got food in your tummy, they'll burn you like they're hot sauce or something. So what I do is I will begin my meal, and in the middle of the meal, I'll take it. So there's food on my stomach, and then food coming on top of it. And then it's like a spice you add to it. Doesn't give me any upset tummy. If I just pop one of them in on an empty stomach, man, I'm going to have heartburn all afternoon. So don't do that. At least you may be different than me. But it does help my joint swelling pretty significantly. And so I have doctor medication, and I also have ginger. And me and my medical provider have talked about both of these. Okay. Another thing is how to make it stop hurting when I get home out of the field is get in hot water. A big old bathtub. Showers don't count because it's just running over you. You've got to immerse in a bathtub. So I'll put my hands in, sometimes I'll run the sink in the kitchen full of hot as I want tap water and stick my hands in it. And just stand there for 10 minutes and let them heat soak. What's happening is the heat is causing everything to expand, including the bones. Remember that damage we talked about? That old wound? It expands because everything's warmed up. And so it will equalize pressure. So if the atmospheric pressure out here is, 29, and I've been in 30 or 31 for the last week, I go to hurting. But if I put my hands in hot water for like 10 minutes or so, that will help because it causes those bones to equalize pressure quicker, and it will hurt less. Now in the field, what do I carry to help me out? If I'm having things, I take care of my medication, and I carry a simple old hand warmer. I can slide this into a sock or whatever and use it like a localized heating pad wherever I've got that body ache that's just driving me nuts and I can't sit or sleep in a hammock or whatever because I'm hurting so bad. A cheap little bitty hand warmer stuck into a towel, a shemagh, a do-rag, or even an old sock works great. Just stick it there and put on it as a portable heat pad. These help a lot. So, for you silver wolves like me that's cracking and popping and snapping, especially on cold mornings, it's kind of funny. My wife will tell you that she can always tell when I'm about to wake up on a cold morning because 20 minutes, 30 minutes out, she starts hearing popping and snapping. And that's as I'm not even awake yet, but I'm kind of, moving a little bit, and things go to popping and snapping. She says it sounds like a bowl of Rice Krispies over there. So she knows I'm waking up. You can't give up. We got to keep going. We've got a lot of little ones counting on us to be there to share the knowledge and take them camping, take them fishing, take them canoeing, take them to the shooting range, teach them how to hunt. We got a big job ahead of us, and we got to stay active as best we can. So for all these little bitty aches and stuff, we just got to suck it up, buttercup, and do the best we can. So go to your medical provider, tell him what you're doing, use Bengay creams, whatever works for you to help you get through it. Like I said, getting in hot water, getting in a hot tub, whatever. I had this thumb right here was so bad one time on one of the camp outs, I took my bush pot and heated it up and didn't boil it, but I made it warm water and I test. and I just immerse my whole fist in that bush pot because that thumb is hurting me so bad. Use heat whenever you can. And if you can't do that, carry one of these. See if that'll help you. Hope you've enjoyed this, guys. If you have, please hit that like button before you go, and I really appreciate everything y'all do for the channel. We will be talking more on the Silver Wolf classes in October coming up. I've got to get with Mr. James Bender and us finalize some stuff, and once I have a criteria and criteria, we'll be posting it. Shouldn't be too much longer. Till next time, guys, I'm Blackie, wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.